Okay, I'm about to break down this hind quarter on this deer, and I wanted to just really quickly walk through kind of the construction of the hind quarter, the major cuts of meat, and really how to go about tackling one of these hind quarters. Now this applies to moose, elk, bears, deer, any real big game animal will have the same general musculature structure. So when you start, you're going to see this all pulled together, and you're going to have these natural seams that you see here, and here's one over here. You can clearly see there's a separation of these two muscles. So all I've done is I've taken the tip of my knife and I've opened up these seams, much like I would do right here. And if you just feather that in, you'll find that seam opens right up. So I've done that here, and what I've done is I've gone ahead and removed this cut on top, on the outside. This is the bottom round. So if you were to come in here and start that cut, you'll find that you can actually pull this apart with your fingers pretty well. And as you start to lay it open, you will expose the top round, which is on the inside of the leg, as this major muscle mass on the inside. So I went ahead and removed the bottom round. This is a great cut for jerky. It's not the most tender cut on the hind quarter, but I've made steaks out of this. I've ground it up for burger, sausage. But at any rate, you want to trim that up and get all the silver skin off. And there's some fat collection here. There's a gland actually that's in here that you're going to want to remove. So anyway, there's the bottom round. And then this guy right here, there's a membrane, kind of connective tissue membrane that you're going to need to peel back. But if you peel this back, you'll expose the sirloin tip, which is this round. It kind of looks like a football. You see that, referred to it that way a lot. This is a fantastic roast. It's really easy to pull off the kneecap here. Again, you can follow, the bone is right here, so you'll be able to follow the bone right up to the ball joint and remove that whole football size roast. What you have here, so that's sirloin tip. This is considered the sirloin and or kind of rump roast. This is nice tender meat as well. The back strap butts right into this, so you can imagine this is pretty tender meat. I like to pull this off. This makes a nice small roast. You can wrap it and tie it, or you can grind this for burger, use it for jerky. Now on the lower leg, you have the shank, which is right here. Now if I open this up, this seam right here a little bit, again, this is kind of how you do this. You can just feather your knife in there and peel this stuff open. So don't be too intimidated by the cuts, because there's not a lot of cutting going on here. It's more about cutting connective tissue. So this little guy right here, while it is considered part of the shank, this little round ball is like the calf muscle. It's considered the heel, and this is another nice crock pot roast. You can put this in a crock pot with a couple of these heels with some potatoes and carrots. All the silver skin and connective tissue will just melt away with slow cooking. That's a great cut of meat right there, as are the shanks. Now I take the shanks off right at the knee, and you can cut this last little couple inches off. These go really well in a crock pot. Again, slow cooking this, all the connective tissue melts away. You've got that bone in there. It'll just fall off the bone. 6 to 8 hours in a crock pot, and these are fantastic. So you got the formal shank, the heel, which can be considered part of the shank, and then moving up, as I mentioned, you have the top sirloin on the back or on the inside of the leg. This little guy right here, again, separating tissue, nothing complicated about this at all. This is considered the eye of the round, and this is a nice little strip of meat that can be used for a number of different things. You can cut up little medallions, butterfly medallions. You can make jerky out of it. You can grind it, but it's a nice little steak there. That's the eye of the round. Kind of looks like a tenderloin. About the same size as a tenderloin. So when you're looking for your tenderloins, which is another topic, this is kind of what you're looking for. It's those two little strips of meat right below the, kind of up against the spine in front of the pelvis. So there's that. We'll set that guy over here. And then top round. This guy, the best way to do this is get rid of all this fat. And like I said, there's a gland in here. There's a couple artery connection points in here. You can just cut all this away. And if you get all this white matter, fat and tissue and whatnot, you get rid of all that, you're gonna have already removed the gland, whether you know it or not. So you don't really even need to think about it. Just remove anything that's white and you'll be good to go. So again, I'm not gonna do this right here, but the bone is right here. You're gonna just simply follow the bone with your knife, and you're gonna follow that all the way around and pull this off. This is your top sirloin. Another tip that I wanted to share now that I've got this flipped over is I wanted to ensure that this ham was going to cool properly all the way through. And this especially holds true with bigger animals such as elk. You know, a lot of people break down an elk, they'll hang the quarters overnight in the woods, come back the next day to pack them out. I highly recommend, before you do that, before you put your meat in game bags, you take your knife, go to the ball of the femur, and just plunge right down into your femur, come all the way down to the joint, and really open this up. It's not going to affect the cuts of meat, as you can see. You're already going to follow this off to take your top sirloin off. Point is, you're going to open this up and allow the heat, that core heat around that femur, to escape. And that is critical, absolutely critical in saving your meat, making sure that you don't have any waste, and secondly, flavor. When you start getting bone sour around this meat, you will taint all the meat around this inner leg, and that's what gives you that strong gamey taste that nobody likes. So just a tip, don't be afraid to open that femur up before you put your meat in game bags. The other thing you do is, if you drape this over a log or something while you're finishing out, boning out your elk or deer, it's going to splay open like that, and that's going to allow air to circulate, allow that to cool much quicker with the evaporation. So there you have it. This is a hindquarter. We're just breaking it down into the muscle groups. It's very simple. There's nothing complicated about this, and nothing too intimidating about it, because you're not really having to know a whole lot about what cuts are what. You're just simply separating all the muscle groups. There's plenty of videos and charts out there to tell you what's what, but I just explained it. Bottom round, top round, sirloin tip, sirloin and or rump, eye of the round lays in here, and your heel, which is the back end of the shank. So there you have it. Good luck, and don't be afraid. A simple boning knife is all you need to butcher all your own wild game at home.